Welcome back to my channel. It is Dr. aka edu_curlz here, also known as Nia, and today we're actually going to talk a little bit about my hair. And I'm going to share kind of like a vulnerable place of where I am currently in all the things. And so yeah, let's get right into it. First of all, if you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad to have you in this space. So glad that you clicked on this video. And hopefully that the topic of today's video really does connect to you in some capacity so that you are able to better connect to the community that is here. So, I have been going through it, y'all. And also we're going to talk in chat and Steam because, you know, it's a self-care Saturday. But, I have been going through it really because there are side effects to losing as much weight as I have. And we are now at the point of my journey where I'm starting to see the side effects of those things in my body or physically with my body in a lot of ways. So if you follow me on social media, you may have noticed that I've cut my hair. I've cut a lot of my hair. I think we're probably at like 4 or 5 inches at this point. So my hair used to be like armpit length. Now if you stretch it, it is like by my neck. So when it sits, it's probably like right here when it's dry. And that really came out of the fact that my hair, when I started losing the weight, I was losing it probably like a little bit more quickly than I think it was expected at first. We've since slowed down because now we're kind of at the place where we're at the ideal body weight. But at first I was losing a lot of weight and it was shedding pretty quickly. And what I learned later, which I didn't know after talking to my doctor, is when you lose weight pretty quickly, especially as a woman, your body actually has to adjust. And that means your hormones have to adjust. That means that affects and like often does affect your hair growth, your skin, you know, your period, all of these things, right? And that just wasn't an aspect of weight loss that I had thought about, like at all. So fast forward, because we're now almost 10 months from when I really started this journey and really sat and like talked to myself about the idea of losing and really going for losing a ton of weight. And that was the end of October, beginning of November of 2023. So roughly 10 months ago. And because of where we are in the journey currently, I went from 243 pounds, 41 pounds to 180. Today when I weighed in, I was 181 pounds. And so that's a ton of weight. It's almost 60 pounds. That's a small child. And what I learned is when you lose that much weight, the equilibrium in your body, like between your hormones, like that homeostasis state is, it changes drastically. So my periods affect me differently now. My bloating is a little bit different now. My skin went through some things and they're still kind of going through some things. My hair in particular is what I could really see the effects of the weight loss in about probably in the last month. And y'all know me, if you've been here a while, you know I've gone from shaved sides to longer curly hair to short tapered cut. It actually doesn't matter to me. Hair is hair. And personally, like I feel like I look good and I can look good either way. Long, short, doesn't matter. While I do really, really love my hair curly, big, long, luscious, there was a point where I had to stop and look at myself. And much like I did when, you know, I first went natural, even, and say like, why are you holding on to this hair? Like it's clearly changing texture. It's clearly changing, strength. All of these things are clearly changing about the hair, but you are holding on to it. And so, as I said when I opened this video, I recently cut my hair. And it's not terribly short. In a second I'll take this off and I'll show you guys, but it's not terribly short, but now I am definitely on a journey of figuring out, like, what does my hair need now? Because my hair, one, it started to appear finer. So I noticed that there was more breakage in my hair, that there was more shedding. I was losing a lot more hair in the shower and detangling. And then I started to notice that, like, my hair started thinning. So I started having, like, a little bit of thinning along my hairline. It was just a little bit different, which was interesting because when I first said something to one of my girlfriends, she was like, yeah, that's, like, kind of what happened to me in postpartum. She was like, your hormones are so thrown off that, you know, that is one of the side effects. And I was like, ooh, I need to go to the doctor. And so when I went to see my doctor, like, that was a part of the conversation we actually had was, like, is this because of this? Is that a thing? And we ended up really talking through, like, yeah, it's a possibility. That is a possibility. When you lose a ton of weight, the way that your hormones secrete is typically, like, in proportion to your body weight. And so when your body weight drastically changes, your hormones are also changing. And so what I started to have conversation with self about really was, okay, if that means that my hair is going to change, like, I don't know what that's going to look like. And so what I started to notice is my hair started to get finer. So I definitely feel like I have a much finer texture now. I think I've always had, like, a medium fine texture, but I definitely feel like I have a much finer texture now. My curls in the back in particular have become wavy. They're not really curly anymore in the same way while they're wet. They can dry tighter, but they definitely are wavy when they're wet. And then these parts right here by my ears has always been a kinkier texture, and so I started to see more breakage there than I was used to. A lot of, like, fraying in my strands. That was really different, and my hair started knotting in itself more. And that was, like, kind of my dead giveaway that, okay, you gotta cut it. Like, you're gonna have to cut this. And like I said, cutting doesn't scare me. It's not, it's definitely not what I wanted at this point in my journey. I'd rather have healthy hair than I would have frayed, thinning, broken strands. So that's how we arrived here. I will show you in just a second the length of my hair at this point because it has really, really changed. As I said before, and if you've been here, you know my hair was about armpit length, and now we are much shorter. So in the back of my hair, it still has some length to it, but it's definitely shorter. It really just touches my neck. And as you can see, I have some shorter pieces, and that's really because those are places I really had to cut. Like, I really had to cut strands. My strands felt different. Like, they felt so different than I'd ever felt them before. And as you also can see on this underside, these are, like, not, this is not the texture that I've had for the last, I don't even know, I went natural at 19. So the last almost 12, 13 years, this is not the texture I've known. And so my hair is changing a lot. I've, like, always considered myself having a tighter texture of hair. It currently doesn't feel like that. And it definitely feels finer than it has in the past. I'll show you the other side as well. And then I'll show you by my ears because that length is also different. But there is just, it's just different. The strands are different. I would say it is much finer in texture. I don't feel like I have a ton of strands on my head in the same way as I used to feel. I actually used to feel like I had a ton of hair. And now, I don't know that I totally feel that way anymore. My strands have just really, really changed to me. I think they're much looser in texture, more of a wavy texture, especially on the underside of my head, in that back by my by what we used to call the kitchen. It's wavier. I think that's the best way to describe it, is because it's not such a tightly curly texture anymore, which is what I was accustomed to and have been accustomed to for about the last 12 years of my natural hair journey. And I actually noticed that my hair was struggling when I was in Jamaica for the wedding. My cousin ended up getting married, and it was because I was going in and out of chlorine. And what I realized is, like, when I would go to wash my hair, that it was just responding to chlorine very differently. Like, it was getting matted. Like, it was very different. And I would say when I got back from Jamaica was when I think I started really noticing the shedding, and I started noticing the breakage, and I started noticing the loss of hair. And so I'll show you what I mean. You see this breakage right here? This started to grow back now, but these were places where the curls had broken off. I've never been able to just like kind of see my scalp in that way. Because my hair has always been pretty dense. And then this is about how short it is now in the front sections. I did a lot of chopping by my ears because that hair was just, it was struggling. It was so difficult. And it just was not, it was not the same. It was not the same. And so, yeah, it's different. It's definitely shorter than I'm accustomed to. So I'll show you when it's together, you know, I still have hair, you know, it's still a length. It's going to grow back. It's not going to be the end of the world. I didn't cut so much off that I'm in a TWA. You know, it's just different, right? I've had longer hair for the last 2 years. And so it is a different adjustment for sure. But it's not impossible. Like, it's not impossible. I can still put it in a ponytail. I can still bun it. I just slick down with a lot more gel now. And it still works. All those things are still doable. It's not the end of the world, you know? It's a change, but it's not the end of the world. So that's been the most up-to-date thing on like how the weight loss journey has really been affecting me in different ways. My hair, my skin have all experienced a little bit of a different thing. And I'm finally, though, feeling like my hair is growing back and is getting stronger. And part of that is because of the line that I recently switched to. Because the other thing that will happen is when your hair is growing unhealthy for whatever reason or experiencing like a drastic change, the products that you've always used, like they'll stop working. Things will stop working. And when that happens, that's like normally my dead giveaway of like, ooh, something's off. Something's off. So the moment that I realized that my curl maker was creating like this matted curly hair situation in the back of my head, I was like, yes, something's wrong. Something is just different. And I don't know what it is. I'm not a hair scientist, nor do I pretend to be, in my spare time. And I need to probably talk to my doctor because this feels like something that could be caused by anything. Things I'm eating, could have been caused by, my birth control while losing the weight, whole bunch of things. And so, yeah, that's kind of what has been going on with me hair-wise for the last almost 4 months. Like I said, I feel like I noticed it more in July, and now it is September, but I think it actually probably started like May, where I was, losing more shed hair in the shower. So that's it, y'all. That's the hair update. I am excited to get back to some content and get back to some styling. I'm actually going to film me doing like a Bantu knot half up, half down today, which I'm excited to do. And then I am also going to talk about a product line that I've recently fallen in love with. It's more on the expensive side, but we've reached a place in life where like I got to buy the nice things because that's what works for my hair. So if you joined and this is the first time you've joined, please check out my other videos. If you are a returning old faithful, thank you for watching. And make sure you check out the video that I'm getting ready to create. So if you're seeing this, you will see this one first. But then the next one should drop either that weekend or the weekend after to see what I've actually been using in my hair now that I've cut it. So thanks again so much for tuning in. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share with friends, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.